Okay, picture this. It's Monday morning. You've got the new outfit on. Maybe you overthought it a little bit, but you look good.
You always overthink the first day outfit.
Always. You've got a fresh notebook, a pen that works,
Yeah.
and that very specific mix of excitement and just nausea in your stomach.
Yeah.
It's day one.
Yep.
You got through all the interviews, you negotiated the salary, and you've told yourself, this is it. This is the place. You walk in that door, or maybe you log onto Zoom, and you are ready to go, and then reality.
Oh, I know that reality. It's 4 hours of compliance videos that look like they were filmed in 1998,
Yes.
signing 15 different forms, and then someone just hands you a laptop and says, the wiki's over there. Good luck.
Exactly. It's this total whiplash. You go from being the chosen one in recruiting, they wined you, they dined you, to suddenly feeling like you're just an admin task. You don't even know where the bathroom is.
And it makes you ask a pretty fundamental question.
Which,
Why do companies spend all this money, all this time, getting talent in the door, only to completely fumble the ball on the 1-yard line?
it's a huge paradox. And, well, that's what we're digging into today. We're looking at this really fascinating new article from Phoenix Performance Partners.
Right. It's called cultural immersion, the 90-day blueprint for employee retention.
And it completely reframes that whole new hire period.
Yeah.
It basically suggests that the boredom and confusion of day one isn't just an inconvenience, it's a retention crisis waiting to happen.
It really is. So the mission for this deep dive is to explore this one critical distinction that the article makes. It's the difference between orientation and what they call cultural immersion.
Because getting those two confused is what?
It's pretty much the #1 reason, according to their research, that great hires quit within the first year.
Wow. Okay, so there's a quote right at the start of the piece that I think sets the stage perfectly. It's from Lou Gerstner, the guy who turned IBM around.
Yeah, a great one. He said, culture is not just one aspect of the game, it is the game.
It is the game. That's a heavy statement, so let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Because I think most of us, and definitely most managers, we use the words orientation and onboarding like they're the same thing.
And that's the first mistake. The source draws a very, very hard line between them.
Okay, so define it for us. That day one experience we just talked about, the forms, the laptop, the parking pass,
That is orientation.
But I mean, it's essential stuff. You need a laptop to work.
Of course. Orientation is foundational, but it's transactional. It answers the question, what do I need to know to function here?
How to log in, how to submit expenses.
Exactly. It's about systems and policies. You can usually get that done in a day or two. But it doesn't answer the bigger question.
Which what makes you stay.
Right. It doesn't tell you how to belong. That's where cultural immersion comes in. It takes a minimum of 90 days, and it answers a much deeper question. What does it take to succeed and thrive here?
Succeed and thrive. That's a whole different level from where's the coffee machine?
It's the difference between the hardware and the software. It's understanding the why behind the company, how decisions really get made, and maybe most important, learning the unwritten rules.
Ah, the unwritten rules. That's where the
Yeah.
landmines are. Okay, but let's talk about the timeline. 90 days. That feels long. In a really fast-moving company, do managers have 3 months to just let someone settle in?
Well, the research in the Phoenix Performance Partners article basically says we don't have the luxury not to. It claims that first 90 days determine if an employee thrives, survives, or leaves.
Thrives, survives, or leaves. That's pretty stark.
It is. It's this critical window where a new hire is like a sponge. They are hyper aware of everything. And if you don't build that cultural connection in the first quarter, you might have someone in the seat, but mentally, they've already started looking for the exit.
That's actually terrifying. To think that someone's entire future at a company is basically set before their probation period is even over.
It is, but if you look at the psychology of it, it makes a lot of sense. And the article breaks this down really well into a kind of timeline of the new hire's brain.
I love this part. It's like a secret look inside their head. Okay, let's do it. Days 1 to 30. The first month. What's going on?
The first 30 days are all about first impressions. More specifically, it's the promise versus reality check.
Oh, I know this. It's like buyer's remorse. The interview process was amazing, and now you're wondering if you've been catfished.
Exactly. The company sells you a vision of collaboration, innovation, whatever. Now you're inside, and you're just observing. You're watching how people talk to each other, how leaders run meetings.
You're looking for the cracks. They said they value autonomy, but my boss has to approve a $3 expense.
Precisely. You're asking, is this place what they told me it was? And even deeper, you're trying to figure out if you were truly welcomed or just tolerated.
Tolerated. That's a rough feeling. Here's a desk. Try not to bother
Yeah.
us.
And that's a huge immersion failure. Okay, so now we get to the second month, days 31 to 60. This is where patterns emerge.
Okay, so the initial shock is over. What are they seeing now?
They're starting to see beneath the official story. They're identifying those unwritten rules. They stop listening to what people say and start watching what gets rewarded.
Give me an example of that.
Okay, so let's say the values poster says, we learn from failure. But in month 2, the new hire watches a colleague try something new, it doesn't work out, and that person gets, publicly criticized in a meeting.
Right, so the pattern they actually learn is don't take risks here.
Exactly. The stated value is innovation, but the lived value is play it safe. They're learning how the machine really works.
And I imagine that's where the cynicism starts to creep in. So what about the final stretch, days 61 to 90?
This is the danger zone. The article calls it identity solidifies. The employee is basically making a decision, conscious or not, am I in or am I out?
It's a commitment point.
It's the psychological contract. They're asking themselves, can I actually succeed here? And more than that, do I want to become the kind of person you have to be to succeed here? And the data is brutal.
Lay it on us.
Employees who don't feel a sense of belonging by the end of that first quarter are, significantly more likely to leave within the year.
So by the time that 90-day review rolls around, they've already decided they've mentally checked in or checked out.
Pretty much, which is why the source is so clear that onboarding can't just be an HR task. It's a cultural imperative. It has to be owned by leadership.
Okay, so that's the problem, and that's the timeline. Now, how do we fix it? The article outlines these 5 elements of cultural immersion.
Yeah, and this is really the practical toolkit. For any manager listening right now, this is what you actually do.
Let's start with number 1, purpose connection from day 1.
This is so important. Most places wait for like a quarterly town hall to talk about the big picture. The article says no, start there. Before you even show them the software, show them the why.
But isn't that just the mission statement in the handbook? We will be the leading provider of. It's usually so dry.
It is, because reading a statement is passive. This is about sharing the company's origin story. Humans are wired for stories. Why was this company started? What problem were the founders obsessed with solving?
Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
It's the difference between we sell shoes and our founder kept getting blisters in marathons and swore he'd fix that for every runner.
Exactly. Stories create emotional connection, and you have to tie their specific job to that story on day 1. You're not just processing invoices, you're making sure that runner can afford the shoes that let them finish the race.
That makes the work feel important immediately. I like that. Okay, element 2, values in action, not on walls.
This one is all about tackling that corporate poster problem. Every company has integrity and teamwork on the wall. It's just noise.
So how do you make it real? You can't just create a crisis to show off your integrity.
No, but you can tell stories about past decisions. You sit them down and say, last year, we had to choose between a fast, cheap material and our quality standard. We chose quality, and it cost us in the short term. Here's why.
Ah, so you're providing evidence that the values aren't just for show.
You're proving they're a filter for decision-making. Okay, element 3. This one is about the cultural guide. Now, most of us have had a buddy at a new job.
Yeah, the person who takes you to lunch once and shows you the printer. Is this just a new name for that?
It's a very different role. A buddy is logistical. A cultural guide is, let's say, political and social.
The stuff nobody admits exists, but everyone knows is crucial.
Right. Every company has a social map. The guide helps you read it. They answer the questions you can't ask your boss, like, who really has influence around here? Or what's the best way to present an idea to that VP?
That is incredibly valuable. Just knowing who to talk to before a big meeting is a game changer.
It is, and the guide also connects them to a peer cohort of other new people. That sense of shared experience is huge for retention.
So you're not alone in being the new kid. Okay, element 4, early wins. This feels a little counterintuitive. We usually tell new people to just listen and learn for the first few weeks.
And that sounds nice, but for a high achiever, it can be really demoralizing. You are hired because you're great at something, and now you're being told to just sit and watch.
You start to feel useless. You question if they even need you.
It kicks off imposter syndrome. So the strategy is to assign a piece of meaningful work in the very first week.
The first week. Isn't that risky?
It doesn't have to be a giant project. Let them fix a small bug. Let them draft an internal announcement. Give them a small, achievable win. And this part is key, publicly acknowledge it.
So it's a confidence boost. It tells them, you belong here, you're already contributing.
It builds a competence loop. Success leads to confidence, which leads to more success.
Okay, love that. Now the last one, element 5, this is my favorite. Explicit cultural decoding.
This goes right back to those unwritten rules.
The secret handshakes?
And the article's point is radical but simple. Stop making it a secret. Don't make people guess how to succeed. Just tell them.
It sounds so obvious, but no one does it. You're just expected to figure it out.
And it's so inefficient. This means leadership needs to be a bit vulnerable, to sit down and say, okay, here's how communication actually works here. We prefer quick emails, not long meetings. Or here's what gets you promoted. It's not just your work, it's how you collaborate on cross-functional projects.
You're handing them the playbook instead of letting them stumble around.
Exactly. It accelerates everything. Okay, so those are the 5 elements: purpose, values, a guide, early wins, and decoding.
It's a really powerful framework, but I can hear a manager listening right now thinking, that's a lot. I'm already swamped. How do you put this into practice?
And the Phoenix Performance Partners article gets that. It offers a practical 90-day framework so it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Okay, walk us through the highlights. What does a good 90 days look like?
So week 1 is all about welcome and purpose. Minimal work, deep immersion in the why, and you engineer that first early win.
Get them on the board right away.
Weeks 2 to 4 are for role clarity and relationships. The cultural guide is key here. They shadow people, they sit in on different meetings, they just map the organization.
So they're building their network.
Right. Then weeks 5 to 8 are about integration. Autonomy starts to go up, but you also build in formal feedback loops. And you ask a really important question.
What's that?
You ask the new hire, how are you experiencing our culture?
Ooh, that's a brave question. You might not like the answer.
But you need to hear it. Better to hear it now than in the exit interview, right? Then finally, weeks 9 to 12 are about ownership. They should be leading small projects. And it ends with a formal fit check-in.
A 90-day review.
But it's not just about performance. It's a cultural fit review. Do you feel like you belong here? Do you know what it takes to succeed?
It's just so much more intentional than the old sink or swim method.
It is. And that leads to the challenge or the audit that the source proposes for anyone listening.
I love a good practical takeaway. What is it?
2 things. First, calculate your ratio. In your current onboarding, what's the percentage of time spent on compliance versus culture?
I'm going to bet for most, it's like 90-10 in favor of compliance.
Easily. So the goal is to shift that. Second, map your touch points. Look at the 90 days. Are there huge gaps where the new hire is just left on their own?
The desert of neglect.
Exactly. And then the advice is to just pilot one change. You don't have to boil the ocean.
Just one small step.
Pick one thing. Maybe it's assigning a real cultural guide next time, or running an origin story session in week 1. Try it with one new hire and see what happens.
I love that. It's not about a total overhaul. It's about shifting the mindset from processing people to immersing them.
That's it, exactly.
This has been so clarifying. I feel like once you see this distinction between orientation and immersion,
Yeah.
you can't unsee it.
It changes how you look at everything.
So to recap, orientation tells you where to park your car and where the copy machine is.
Which you need to know.
But immersion tells you how to belong.
That is the core takeaway. Your recruiting can be world-class. But if your first 90 days are a cultural failure, you're just pouring talent into a leaky bucket.
And that's an expensive leak.
Remember, every single new hire is a detective. They are collecting clues every day, trying to answer one question. Is this place what I was promised?
And if the answer is no, they're either gone or they stay and just quietly quit.
Which leads me to the final thought I want to leave everyone with today.
Let's hear it.
By the time your new hire hits that 90-day mark, they have already decided if your company can be their professional home. They've made that decision based on the experience you gave them. So if you haven't designed that experience with intention, what decision have you already forced them to make?
That is a really powerful question. If you're not intentional, you're just leaving loyalty completely up to chance. And in this market, that feels like a gamble nobody can afford to take.
Not with your best people.
Well, thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it makes you look at your next welcome packet a little bit differently.